Let's get ready to rumble!
Hello and welcome to Netflix vs. Cinema, the podcast that I think is kindly recovered from the whole Barbenheimer thing. I think it's dying down a bit, but only after Barbie has run away with $1 billion of our money. My name is Tosin. I am the host of this show. I am based up in the United Kingdom in a place called Bromsgrove, just outside Birmingham in the middle of the country. And joining me as always on the Isle of Wight are Sharon Bollen.
Hello.
And from London, it is Holly Neslane.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Holly's got her husk on. That's it. It's very Kathleen Turner.
Like not being able to speak.
It's very Kathleen. Hey, the woman made a wonderful career with that.
That's not being able to speak properly.
Yeah, well, Kathleen Turner, Macy Gray, somebody who many people might not know, Julie Kavner.
I do not know.
Julie Kavner, she is an actress and she is more popularly known as the voice of Marge Simpson.
Oh, that's a revelation.
Yeah, it's one of those things like when you see her, there's two, okay, there's Yeardley Smith, who's the voice of Lisa Simpson, and Julie Kavner, who's the voice of Marge Simpson. When you see them in films, it throws you a bit because you're looking at them going, why do I feel like I know this person? And then you close your eyes and you're like, oh my God, it's Lisa Simpson! Or like, because Julie Kavner actually knew her. I knew her before I saw The Simpsons. I knew of her before I saw The Simpsons, but ever since The Simpsons, they haven't really done that much. Unless it's like, I think Yeardley Smith shows up in As Good As It Gets because she's good friends with James L. Brooks. But I digress. What we do on this show is we go to the cinema. We usually see about 3 things in the cinema. And we stay at home, we see about 3 things. We come back, we rate them all out of 5, and we see where money has been better spent this week. Now, we are missing a member, and that is Shaun Harris. He's not with us this week. And Shaun is usually the one who holds up the cinema end. Shaun is usually the one who goes, what's in my local cinema? I will see all of it. He's that guy who orders everything off the menu. And so I think this week we only have 1 film. But I also think that this week there might only be 1 film new out. Because, okay, so and Sharon, you saw that film. What film did you see?
I saw Meg 2, The Trench.
Meg 2, The Trench. And, no, there's actually another film. There's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, which you were never going to see because it's animated.
No.
And I would have loved to see, but it was on at stupid times. Like the last showing was at 5 p.m. and I was just kind of like, ugh. And I know that every now, yeah, I know, Sharon, you're right to pull that face.
Why?
I don't know. I think last week when I actually had the time to go see it, the last showing was at 5 p.m. This week I've been up and down motorway, so I haven't really had chance to go into the cinema. And I think they finally took mercy on me and put one at 7. Like the latest showing was at 7. But I just can't. It's like it's a film I want to see because I am of the right age for a Turtles movie. I am of the right age. I am of the right demographic for a Turtles movie, and they have decided, you know what, we're going to put it at a time when I can't see it. So,
but no one of working age can see it.
Exactly.
Because it's a school holiday, so naturally, no one works during the school holidays. Ridiculousness.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure they have some data that says that that's the best time to put it on in Reddit, but hey. Okay, so never mind. So we have Meg 2, The Trench. That is what we're seeing. That's what we're bringing to the cinema for. That's cinema's sole representative this week. And at home, Holly, what have you seen? What are you bringing to the fore?
So today is The Witcher season 3.
Ooh.
And which I know Sharon has seen, obviously.
I have seen all of it now as well.
Okay.
And a slightly odd one that I watched yesterday, which was an art house film from 2021 called Vampire.
All right, cool.
Vampire.
I'm going to say Witcher Season 3. I'm going to say Witcher Season 3 because the both of you can go on that. And the one thing I'm going to bring this week is, okay, let's see. If you're going to, because for me, I told you it was between The Deepest Breath and Colin From Accounts. And if we're going to have, I'm going to go Colin From Accounts. That's what I'm going to bring in it. So that is what we're going to talk about this week. Meg 2 versus Colin From Accounts and The Witcher season 3, and not that I can ever be accused of being late to the party, but I have just finished watching The Witcher season 2. Thank you. You're very. You are welcome. Finished it last week. Finally caught up. It was only 2 years late, but all right. So let us kick off with Meg 2: The Trench. Sharon, tell us about Meg 2: The Trench.
Meg 2 is a direct sequel to The Meg. Which came out, I think, was it 2 or 3 years ago now?
Yes, I think it was it was just before COVID, wasn't it?
It must have been, yes.
Yeah,
it must have been. So we're looking at sort of 3 years then, and it is a sort of, I think it must be a sort of Chinese collaboration because it is. There's a lot of sort of Chinese actors in it, and a lot of the dialogue is in Chinese, so it obviously appeals to that sort of dual. Sort of cultures really, but anyway, it's set in sort of like above some of the deepest trenches in the world, where in the last film they discovered that there's like the sea floor is not the sea floor, it's actually just a layer, and that if you get through this layer and there's like another world below that which is inhabited by a lot of prehistoric dinosaur-y type creatures that have survived all the various cataclysms that have affected the sort of the surface world. So underneath this sort of like thermal layer, there's a pressurized area below the sea floor as we know it, where megalodon, bitey things, giant things, and sort of creatures that you don't really want to meet.
Giant octopus.
Yes, all those things that you don't really want to meet when you're paddling in the sea will come up and sort of go surprise.
Chomp, chomp.
Yeah. So this is where they have discovered this underworld thing, and during the last adventure, megalodon came up and chomped its way around, and it brought a baby with it, and they have kept this baby, and they're trying to basically examine this sort of how this megalodon works, how its brain works, as in trying to see if they can train it. Can it be almost like acclimatized to the modern world? Can it be has it got a place? So, and whilst they're doing this, they're developing all these technologies so they can explore this new part of the world that they didn't previously know existed. Yeah. And they've developed these sort of suits that can they're like in Alien, Ripley picks up all these sort of exoskeleton
exoskeletons, yeah.
But it's like an exoskeleton that's sort of body shaped, but it has like an enclosed hands and head, but you have this huge power within it that you can move things and touch things and do things, amazing things. So they have developed this technology, and they are bit by bit they're exploring. They're doing different zones and they're exploring this underworld world where all these megalodon in their natural habitat live. But something goes wrong.
Yeah, I have to say, just before you carry it, I have to say I admire how much guff they come up with in these films to excuse the bitey, shooty, blowy, uppy action.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole series of books.
Yes, they're like a stack of books, aren't there?
I have read all of them as well.
It's on my to-be-read list, I think. Having watched a couple of them, I'm thinking, I know what this is about. I'm going to just read these. Because they're just enormous fun.
They are more complicated books than the films, but arguably that's not very difficult.
Yeah. But there is like a bad guy element to this. The bad guys are doing something nefarious down there. That goes wrong. The teenage adopted daughter of the Jason Statham's character, she was orphaned in the last film, and he's sort of now co-raising her with her uncle. She's a Chinese girl, and she's being co-raised by Jason Statham and her Chinese uncle. So she is growing up with the two of them. And she decides that it's time that she's now sort of 14, that she wants to go down on one of their deep sea dives just to sort of experience it herself. And that and that what could possibly go wrong. And because they've had 30 dives without incident, why can't she go with them? And so she goes with them, and then obviously chaos ensues. And because of this chaos ensues, they meet bad guys, stuff happens. And then this rift is torn in the ceiling of this underground ocean, and a load of Megs and something we sort of get a glimpse of escape into our world. And so, fleeing bad guys, they then escape to the nearest island, which happens to be called Fun Island. because it's where everyone goes to have their holidays and run around in their bathers.
I thought you
And
were
then-
about to say Shark Island because because everything we've heard so far is not on the nose enough.
I know. Yeah, but Fun Island. So at Fun Island, it becomes anything but fun. Well, apart from us who are watching it, because these sort of prehistoric, sort of bitey things from the depths decide that party time is happening at Fun Island, and then they're busy to sort of eat their way through most of the people there.
Yeah,
And a couple of the characters from the first film appear, like the lady who owns the little dog called Pippin, and so you still get the whole Pippin. That happened.
yeah.
And then.
I have gone on record as to what I think about that dog, but and what I think should happen to that dog. I have gone on
swim,
record.
Pippin, swim. Yeah, we know, we know what's going to happen. And then sort of bad guys do stuff, but basically, the bad guys are completely incidental. You want to see them fighting Megalodon. You want to see the Stay punching a Megalodon in the head, don't you? And the Megalodon rolling over and going, "Ow!" That's what you want to see, and that's basically what happens. It's like don't mess with me or my family, not in those words, but it's like the Staith is gonna wrestle with the Megalodon, and the Staith is gonna come out on top, looking a bit like the Staith, really.
He's got
that one expression that basically is the same expression through the whole film. But you've got to love it.
I'm expecting that at some point in this film he crafts a saddle and rides a Megalodon like a horse.
Well, he rides a jet ski, and you have a jet ski Megalodon sort of race and faced off. It's like a medieval joust because they have got sticky, pointy things.
Sticky harpoony things,
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so with this, I mean, you have very gamely tried to make this thing sound like it has a plot, and quite frankly, with this
you
sort
just
of
don't
thing,
care.
you do you don't
get on
care.
with the mega action.
You don't care. I mean, and I think with the shark movie, which is I mean, I think we did a whole show where we just did shark movies.
Yeah.
We did a whole show where when we're doing a podcast called They Don't Make Them Like They Used to. There was one episode that was just about shark movies.
Yeah.
Well, with shark movies, obviously you have Jaws. Jaws is the specter that they're all in, and I think that the modern classic is Deep Blue Sea, which doesn't take itself too seriously, and it knows you came in here to see sharks fighting humans, biting them in half, and we're going to see what happens at the end. Whether eventually you want to see the humans win. Right? Normally you want to see the humans win, and then the shark goes away, blah, blah, blah. And that was Deep Blue Sea. And it's all about the execution. So it's not about the plot. It's about the execution of it. It's about whether they understand that they're a joke or whether they're taking themselves too seriously. So the question is, what was the execution of this like?
It was fun. It was as camp as a row of tents. In only that Jason Statham can be, that he's so masculine that it's almost like a caricature of himself.
Yeah, it imagines to be camp, but the kind of camp that would kick your head in if you looked at it wrong.
Yeah, So I think it was almost like perfectly executed. You have that perfect combination of these prehistoric sharks, a giant octopus. Not really. I don't think that's a spoiler because they're talking about anything from the depths of the sea, and there's got to be a giant something with suckers on it.
I'm pretty sure there was a giant octopus in the first film.
Yeah, there was.
I'm pretty sure there was a giant octopus. I mean, not that I remember much of it, but I'm pretty sure there was a bit where there's a giant octopus fighting a submarine. But
and at the beginning, there's a really good sort of like Jurassic Parky type bit where you sort of see, prehistory, these things, sort of the food chain, how it develops, and then you introduce these critters, that have, and then realizing that human beings are like the prey species rather than the apex predator in this world. So you see different people getting eaten in creative ways by bitey things, so things with suckers and things with a lot of big teeth.
It's like humans, you are the food. All right, okay. So okay, that's all well. And one more thing before we ask for the star rating on this, because I think we know what this film is. You know what this film is. It's a creature feature. No one's expecting anything much. But before we ask that, this is directed by Ben Wheatley, and I'm not sure if you recognize the name, but this is so far removed from anything he has ever done. Ben Wheatley is an indie darling. He did High Rise. He did Kill List. He did Free Fire. He did A Field in England. He did a film called In the Earth. These are all films that
nothing like this film.
Exactly. Nothing like this film. They are all low budget things that he put together with a band of people in his backyard, and and they get critically acclaimed, but they don't necessarily make much money.
Don't make any money. No.
They don't make much money, but they make. I think essentially he just wants to make enough money to allow him to make another film, and this is him essentially going, yeah, give me the budget. I want to go play. I want to go play that. Or he did the remake of Rebecca. He did the new version of Rebecca with Mia Wasikowska in it. Yeah, and and I just find that funny. I think that for me, that's actually the funniest thing about this film is like Ben Wheatley made the Meg. It's kind of like if you said Martin Scorsese directed a Marvel movie, but like, yeah. So, but okay. But anyway, with that being said, how did Ben Wheatley do? How many stars would you give this?
Yeah, it was a riot. It was fun. It was ridiculous. Some of the acting, you think, I'm not sure I entirely believe your motivation in this scene. And I think, am I entirely convinced that you're really fleeing from a prehistoric bitey thing? I'm not sure.
That is a step up from the first film, because there was some of the acting in the first film I was like, I'm not entirely sure you're human.
So yeah, I mean, some of it was a little bit broad, but I think they sort of played to their audience. So I thought it was fun. It was a riot. It was enjoyable, just to kick back, just to relax and watch it. The mayhem ensue. But it is a 3 film, because I don't know that the Meg could ever be more than a 3 film. No. But you can still be. It does what it's supposed to do. As a Meg film, it's good. It does what it was supposed to do. But yeah, I'd say it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's a bit of a riot. You don't care about some of the things where you're thinking, would that really happen? You don't really care.
You're like, we don't care.
And the Staith is indestructible, so perfect. What more could you want from a film?
We're talking
still be a 3-star film. Yeah.
Yes, it's like a perfect 3-star. I feel like that's the kind of film that it can. If they did everything perfectly in this film, it would be a 3. Yeah. There's nothing you can do to elevate a film like this above a 3. And it's anyway. Sorry, Holly.
It is what it is, but it does it well, and it's fun.
It was so bad. One of those, it's so awful that it makes itself a 5 by being dreadful, but so delightfully dreadful in its dreadfulness. And I can't think of any that have done that recently.
No, some films are they're just so gloriously awful that you just revel in them, don't you? This does what it's supposed to do. It does what it was supposed to do. So yeah, I can't fault it beyond other than it being a film about a giant megalodon eating Chinese tourists. On the whole, they didn't discriminate. They ate sort of all races. So I'm sure.
Oh my god. Is that
opportunities monster? Like it.
Is that the next one? Is like Meg 3, the xenophobe.
Yeah, it's only
I only eat Chinese people.
But it was indiscriminately ate anyone. So it was.
At the risk of spoiling things about the books, I think we can safely say that in the books, Meg eats far more white people.
Well, because the books are not financed by China, so
no, but it is not an entirely white leading sort of cast in a book, is it? A book equivalent of a cast, but they mostly manage to kill white people, so a lot of them, just for variety.
Okay. We have to move on, because you just set my brain on another track, and I'm trying to think of a reverse racist shark, but never mind. Or just racist in the other direction shark. What, only eat white people? But never mind. I just heard they taste better. But right. So excuse me. Close that. Go away. You know when you have an iPhone and it's linked to an iPad, and then someone calls you the phone and then the iPad rings.
Yeah.
That's not actually my iPad. It's my wife's iPad, but she has an iPhone. And anyway, never mind. She's probably somewhere with her daughter. Anyway, now let's move on. Let's move on from our sole representative of cinemas, which sounds like it sounds like a it sounds like a 5-star, 3-star film, if you get what I mean. It's like
Yeah.
a 5-star experience watching a 3-star film. You enjoy it, you think this is brilliant, but
It's as good as it's ever going to be. So that's a 5. Yeah, you say it's 5-star.
yeah, like
3-star.
there's it sounds like there's no moment where you're not enjoying yourself while you're watching that. And I think that those sort of films are great and are needed. So something that's just going to be like, we're going to be stupid, but you will be entertained. And now we go over to home, and I'm going to talk about Colin From Accounts. Colin From Accounts on BBC iPlayer. Now, at the moment, there seems to be this thing where people seem to think, okay, we're in England, we have got all this English TV, we've imported a whole bunch of American stuff, and Australia seems to be like this new frontier in which they're bringing more stuff in and they're bringing things in. And they're bringing an Australian look on certain things. So, I mean, there's a TV show called... what's it called? There's the TV show called Bump, which is all about a teenager who gets pregnant while at school, even though she's like a straight A student, and how she navigates being a mother while trying to achieve everything by being a straight A student. And there's another one called The Letdown, which is all about
Queen of whatever. Is it the Queen of Oz?
It's Queen of Oz, Queen of Oz with Catherine Tate going over to Australia, and Colin From Accounts is part of this glut, and I think Colin From Accounts is possibly one of the most acclaimed ones. This is pretty much a rom-com with an Aussie bent. So it's pretty much a rom-com with an Australian sense of humor, because if I think about everything that happens in Colin From Accounts, it follows a structure. There's a meet cute at the beginning, but it's a meet cute done in a very Australian way. The kind of thing which it's like something happens. Which I was wondering whether to mention this in the review as to what happens in the first 5 minutes of this show, and I've decided not to mention it, not to say it. But something happens in the first 5 minutes of this show that leads to somebody running over a dog with a car. And the fact that this dog is running over the car brings these two people together. There's a guy and a girl played by Patrick Brammall and Harriet Dyer, who are actually a couple in real life. And they meet up. She's a medical student trying to go through things. He's an older guy who is trying to run a pub, like a microbrewery. And it's all about them meeting over this dog. And then what happens? It's only 8 episodes long. Each one of them is like about half an hour. And you have your meet cute. You have your beginnings of, is there something there? You have the old girlfriend who's coming in and is like saying things about stuff, and you have the old boyfriend, and you have complications, and then you have do we know whether this is going to work or not? And then you have the conclusion of whether it is going to work or not. It's a rom-com. It is a rom-com in every sense of the word, and what elevates this above rom-com full stop is the fact that I think the sense of humor is new, and it hasn't really been seen that much it hasn't been done to death. The sense of humor hasn't been done to death because it's Australian. And also the fact that it is very sort of like biting and very observant about the relationships and of the characters. Like, you believe these characters exist. You believe that they will be like that. And they don't try and do the whole rom-com thing of, oh yeah, and guess what? Oh, she has a gay best friend and all that kind of stuff. And oh yeah, look at her. She's a hot mess, but really, she's really likable at heart. No, these characters, they have moments where you go, I don't like them. Actually, maybe that's just because they're like real people. And Holly, I think you particularly would love Colin From Accounts. It will not take up that much of your time. And obviously the dog that they run over is essentially, there's Instagram pages dedicated to this dog now because people love the dog. And he is one of these sort of small kind of terrier looking things.
Scruffy dogs.
Yeah, he's like a scruffy looking dog. And I don't think there's much else I could say about it, but it's that's about it. It's Australian, it's a rom-com, but it's good. See it for this. It is funny. It is painful in bits. There are definitely cringe moments. It definitely has its cringe comedy moments, which I am not the biggest fan of, but they do work. They do work. And that's all I can say. I feel as I say usually when I talk about comedies, without just trying to regurgitate all the best jokes in a very, very bad way, without telling them all the best jokes in a bad way, all I can say is watch it, figure it out, make up your own mind. But I would recommend Colin From Accounts. I think it is worth its hype, and it's one of those things that you you can see how they would do another season, and there's a bit of you that wants to see another season, another bit of you that goes, but if you go much longer, you're going to lose something. So, yeah. Colin From Accounts, 4 out of 5.
Excellent.
Yes. So, yeah. Holly, I would expect that you would have watched that by next week, and you can let me know what you think.
I will. Along with needing to start on Only Murders season 3.
Only Murders in the Building season 3, yes. But that's only being released one episode a week, right?
And I'm still disappointed that they've gone for a third series. I always felt they should stop at 2, but...
there's a bit of me that thinks that I mean, the only reason I can think of that I would say Only Murders in the Building season 3 is, and they seem to know it themselves, is that they have corralled Meryl Streep into their madness.
Yeah.
And Meryl Streep being corralled into their madness is worth it. Meryl Streep doing anything is worth it. And you just want to see, in that crazy world of the Arconia, what's going to happen with Meryl Streep.
Yes.
Ooh, I have started watching the After Party season 2 on Apple TV Plus because, Sharon, guess what happened again?
Oh, what, for the credit card?
No, it's not the credit card. It's not the credit card, but it is once again. Okay, Holly, I'm not sure whether you've heard me ever talk about Apple TV Plus and how I have had Apple TV Plus for probably about 2.5 years and have never once paid for it.
Yeah, because you get these deals where it's like you get 6 months free or something.
You get 6 months free. And so this is our latest public service announcement regarding Apple TV Plus. If you order a cake from Patisserie Valerie, or is it Valerie Patisserie? Which one is it?
Valerie.
Patisserie Valerie. If you order a cake from Patisserie Valerie, they give you an option of free things to say thank you for ordering a cake. And one of them is 1 month free of Apple TV Plus. So I have gotten the 1 month free of Apple TV Plus. I am trying to. I think I will finish watching all of the After Party before the month is up. I will watch Silo because that's another TV show that is.
That's the only reason I was thinking of getting it. So I've read the books of Silo, so I'm.
Wool.
Yes,
Yeah.
All those, the whole 3 of them. Is it Hugh Howey or something like that?
Yes, it's something Howie.
I've
Yeah.
read. I think there's 3 in the series, and I have read all 3 of them. And so I was thinking, I want to watch that.
I am on the 3rd episode of Silo, and it is good. It is good. I mean, it's not as bad as, well, I was going to say it gives you Lost vibes, but it isn't as annoying as Lost, because Lost, I stopped after 3 episodes going, they're never going to tell you anything in this show because this show exists.
They're making it up as they go along.
Yeah, this show relies on you not knowing what's going on, so they will never tell you.
Yeah.
So I've only ever watched 3 episodes of Lost, and I went, no, not going. But no, Silo feels like it's going somewhere. Silo feels like you will eventually find something out, which is really good. And I think the way they've done the TV show is great because you see the posters and you know that it has these different people in it, but the person who is the big name and the big face on the poster, the show starts and you're like, wait, what? Because there's somebody else who's another big name who the first episode is all about, and you're like, wait, but what's she doing here? What about? And so it almost sort of like plays with you. I feel like the marketing plays with you because I watched the first episode and I was shocked at the first thing I saw. I was like, I didn't know they were in this show. I think it also does that whole thing where the names, you know, the credits at the beginning of the show,
Yeah.
they change with every single show because of who is in the episode. And I'm enjoying Silo. I'm enjoying the After Party too. I will finish those 2 very soon and let you know. And I will go through Apple TV Plus and find all the other things. Oh, Hijack with Idris Elba. Hear great things. But Sharon, the good thing is that you can pay $6.99 for 1 month, binge all you want, and then get out of there. Because
that's tempting to do it just so I can get like a week free, and I'm thinking, is a week enough for me to better deal with these things without going insane? But
take some holiday. Take some holiday, make it happen.
Might coincide with my week's leave.
yeah, because my brother made a very good point. He says that he thinks like Apple TV Plus is the new HBO. Because there was a time when HBO, every time they released a show, you were like, okay, it's The Wire, it's Game of Thrones, and you were like, oh, yep, need to watch this, it's Succession. Yeah, it's like, you know, you're like, I need to watch this, it's appointment TV. And I think Apple TV, they don't make a lot compared to someone like Netflix, but they seem to put a lot of effort into making sure that what they make is exemplary of whatever of that sort of genre of what they do. Yeah. So
And is Schmigadoon season 2 coming as well to Apple TV?
Schmigadoon season 2 is on there. It's on there already.
It's on there.
Yeah,
because we haven't reviewed that one. Because I think, have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I saw the trailer for it, and
Because I know we all watched and liked Schmigadoon.
Oh no,
Whether it's
Schmigadoon is hilarious. Schmigadoon is, to use your words, Sharon, it is a hoot. Schmigadoon is brilliant, and
That's the right word.
yeah, and but the thing is that Schmigadoon season 2, they go into a sort of Chicago type world, and I'm not so. I saw the trailer for it, and I was not enthused. And I feel like the first season of Schmigadoon is this perfect formed pastiche of 1950s musicals, and it's so wonderful that I don't want to smear it because I haven't really heard anything about the second season. It's out, it's on there, but I haven't heard anything. It hasn't pulled up any trees, so to say. But anyway, moving on from that, well, let's go on to the second thing we're going to talk about on this time, not on Apple TV Plus, because I'm still binging my way through a whole bunch of stuff. That will be next week. We're talking Netflix, and we are talking The Witcher Season 3. Holly, if you have any voice left, please take it away.
Okay, I'll start, but I'll have to hand over to Sharon quickly for the stupid talking. So, unsurprisingly, The Witcher Season 3 follows on from the end of The Witcher Season 2. Who would have thought? And it begins with Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer together, but with Geralt and Yen not on speaking terms, because obviously Series 2 ended with, whilst things being improved, her having, betrayed them to some extent, and
which nobody ever saw coming, but yeah.
Nobody ever saw coming, obviously. So it begins with the improving of the relationships and the discovery that there are clearly, undercurrents of not goodness happening at Aretusa, and trying to find out what exactly is going on and keep Ciri safe. With bringing in various characters from the other episodes in slightly random fashions, but all completely logical.
Yep.
I think that's about as much as my voice can manage for now. So over to you, Sharon.
Yeah, and it sort of delves into it's all been sort of coming towards this conflict, isn't it? Where the continent, as it's set, there were all these factions that are manoeuvring for power. They're trying to maneuver the mages. And
Redania, Nilfgaard, and Sintra,
and they're all sort of trying to sort of maneuver and to take advantage of this sort of magic, and they're not witches. What would you call the women?
They're sorceresses.
Sorceresses,
mages.
They don't
mages.
Mages.
I thought okay, because I've always tend to think that the mages has been the men, but I suppose it's the Brotherhood, isn't it? They talk about the Brotherhood and then the mages. That's right. And so you can finally see it's all coming towards this decisive moment where things, instead of being this sort of like uneasy tension between all these factions, it suddenly now is going to descend into all-out war. And so we see this sort of almost like schism happen, don't we, where this spark has been lit, and then they are openly at war now between Nilfgaard and the mages and the elves.
Oh yeah. The elves were pretty annoyed at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
And so there's more of the same. So yeah, there's a lot of, and how the three characters that we have been following throughout, Ciri, flanked by sort of Geralt and Yennefer, how they're all being drawn inexorably down towards this path of of conflict, and Ciri sort of fulfilling her destiny. And we're beginning to sort of get glimpses of what because they've always said she's potentially the most powerful mage there's ever been.
Yeah.
And we're beginning to get glimpses of her power, and what the consequences of that will be for the continent as we have seen it.
All right, cool. So obviously you don't want to say much and give away spoilers or anything like that. But one of the things that I watched The Witcher Season 2 probably about 3 years, maybe 4, after watching The Witcher Season 1. And it was one of those things where I'm just gonna sit here and let this wash over me because I don't remember anything. I don't remember who's who. That person looks kind of familiar. I somewhat remember they're like, ooh, Mousak. I'm like, who was Mousak? I don't remember who Mousak is. And then somebody shows up and I'm like, I think I remember him from early on in the episode. Is there a similar, because the one of the things about The Witcher is that The Witcher is dense. The Witcher, the folklore is dense, and I feel like they throw you in there, especially the first season, they throw you in there and they expect you to sink or swim, and they don't make a lot of concessions. They just kind of go, either you get it or you don't, and if you don't get it, bye.
It's not for you.
Yeah.
I'm a similar boat because I've only read the first book, and when they talk about Strombold, or they talk about different characters, I'm thinking, which one was he again?
Yeah, Vilgefortz.
And I'm like, yeah, and the different countries, I'm like, are they goodies or are they baddies? and there's not a clear line are there between any of them.
No.
So when suddenly one sort of so I haven't followed it. I'm not in that world, so I found keeping track of some of it. I just haven't bothered, and because I watched the prequel story, I'm trying to think, how on earth does all that fit in with what we're seeing now? Anyway, so yes, it's sort of, there's more of the same, where it can be confusing to the uninitiated, and even those who've watched them all, it's still a bit confusing because unless you've read the books and played the games, I think you probably will find it a little bit. There's a lot.
There is a lot. That was the thing but I think it's a testament to the show and to the making of the show, that even though it's this dense thing where you're not sure what's happening half the time, it's still really entertaining and you still want to watch it. But does that carry on in season 3?
Yeah, certainly does to my mind, but it does. I mean, we know I rewatched everything, but it really does benefit from a rewatch and actually starting at series 1 and then going through and rewatching all of them. So you're actually...
Did you do that?
Of course
you did.
Obviously I did.
I didn't, and there are some bits I was thinking, I don't know what this is all about.
I don't know who that is. I don't know. There's somebody who shows up in season 2, and I remember looking at him going, I'm pretty sure you died. And I was good. I was looking going, I thought you died, and hang on, didn't somebody kill you and then take your face and walk around masquerading to be you? I thought you were the person who is being masqueraded. No, you're actually just the person. Okay, that must have been somebody else who died. and it's like oh, he's an expert in monoliths, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he died. But
it's quite difficult to follow and sometimes to tell people apart. It's not like my winner of what was it, ridiculous TV series with Sarah Michelle Gellar that was on last year, where I couldn't tell any of the characters apart.
Oh, was this the one that had to do with vampires and where she was the head of where she was like she was some old wizened vampire hunter or something?
No, this was the one where there were werewolves and she was in the police.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yes, I couldn't tell any of the characters apart. There was generic man or generic male young person, generic female young person. To me, I have no idea which. I couldn't tell any of them apart at all.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool. So how many stars would we give The Witcher season 3?
If I give my little pennyworth there, and I didn't love it as I used to. I loved the first season. I absolutely loved it. I was less enthused by the second season. Didn't really rate the prequel one at all, and a bit of a mess. And this one, again, I'm feeling slightly less enthusiastic. So for me, my interest has waned a little bit in the Witcher universe. I think that might be because I probably needed to go back and revisit them all so that it made sense to me, because a lot of it probably didn't make sense. So I would have to give it a 3 because I recognise that they've done it well. I probably would have liked a bit more Geralt because he's the character that sort of draws you into this world and you see the world through his eyes. And where it does dance around a bit, I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I think for me, it was losing me a little bit. Picked up towards the end. The last 3 episodes, I thought it would pick up, but for me, it's still going to be a 3.
And I agree with everything you said there. I think it wasn't as quite as gripping as the first series. The first series was so good, but
But I think it's funny because the other thing I was going to talk about, which I might talk about next week, The Deepest Breath. It's not even just it's not even that the first season was so good. It was the way the first season was told. Like
yes,
the structure of the first season was a massive part of it. It was a massive part of it that made you go, "Oh, I see what that. Oh, yeah, I get you now." And I think that it's a lot in the telling of the story. Even if the story is straightforward, the telling of the story can make it exceptional. And I think that's the case with The Deepest Breath, and I think that was the case with the first season of The Witcher.
as one of the episodes in this, I think, captures that same sort of telling
Yeah,
towards the end, which I think gives you really captures what they did in the first series. So whilst I absolutely loved it, and I'm going to give it a 4, it's a slightly grudging 4.
okay, it's just about.
Because it's also there's an element of sentimentality in there.
Or
And
because it's Henry Cavill's last go as Geralt.
it's not even that, it's the sort of fond, having been fond of the first series. So
Okay, gotcha.
one probably likes, I'm able to like it more than it necessarily deserves,
Yeah,
because even though I still think it was very good, I think there's a sort of emotional.
yeah, yeah. Kind of like watching a family member do something. You're like, oh, look at them, yay! Or a niece or a nephew or something. You're like, oh, aren't you clever? So and going on to something else that Sharon, that you said earlier, that big Geralt being the main draw. So there's a whole bit in season 2 where they pointed that Geralt isn't the only Witcher, and you meet a whole bunch of other witches, and and it's funny because you see him in this sort of cabal of other witches, and you're kind of like, well, in a fight, they're all gonna die because he's obviously better than them because he's Henry Cavill, and none of the others are anywhere near Henry Cavill. And it made me think that this show is so much on his shoulders. So it's not so much on Geralt's shoulders, but on Henry Cavill's shoulders, because Henry Cavill looks like a superhero, and he walks in and he's taller than everybody else, and he's got the white hair and all that. And none of the other witches looked exceptional, even though they're supposed to be. They all looked rubbish compared to quite frankly. And when there was a fight, you were like, yeah, they're all gonna die. He's gonna walk out alive. And I feel like this is a big problem that The Witcher has going forward, because we know Henry Cavill is not going to be Geralt anymore. It's going to be Liam Hemsworth. And I feel like that is one hell of a poisoned chalice. And and I really, really, really hope, for Liam Hemsworth's sake, he is getting paid loads. Because not only do I fear for the show with Henry Cavill not in it, I fear for him. I fear for Liam Hemsworth, because people, I think, are going to come for him because he's not Henry Cavill, and he's not built like Henry Cavill. I think Chris Hemsworth maybe could get away with it. Liam Hemsworth, unfortunately, not, because I just feel like I'm just looking at you're watching the season, so I'm just kind of going, but he's Geralt. he is Geralt. He has. You look at him and you understand why this guy is like loaded across the continent and everything like that. But yeah, it did make me think. Yeah, I think this show is on his shoulders, and I think season 4 might be the final season because
Yeah.
I don't know how somebody is going to carry on from what Henry Cavill has done
that
without
presence.
without I think the presence is the way. It's just the fact that I feel like the way they've done it is very particular to him, and I honestly am worried for Liam Hemsworth. I really really am. Yeah, but hey, he might blow us away. I hope he does. I sincerely hope he does. I think it will be very, very different, and I think that many people might not be able to handle that difference. and Netflix might wield their big witcher swinging axe to cut it off. But do they come up with anything at the end of this season that might explain why Geralt might look different next season?
No.
Yeah, all right, cool. Oh dear, okay, never mind. I was hoping there was an elixir or polyjuice potion or something, but
I mean, I think it sort of hangs in a way that you can potentially see how something potentially could be done, but it's certainly not entirely opened the door to it. Does that make sense?
it will when I watch it.
Yeah.
But all right, okay, cool. So that is 3.5 stars for The Witcher Season 3. So, as is customary, I must ask you, who do you think has won this week? Netflix or cinema?
Well, I think Netflix.
Yeah, I think Netflix has done it.
I think Netflix has done it, although I have to say, I think Netflix has done it on a mathematical point of view. Although I do not think any of us had as much fun watching anything this week as Sharon did watching Meg 2 The Trench in the cinema.
Yeah, that was, it was, fun points. It wins the fun points.
Yeah, so Netflix wins the mathematical vote, but the good time points go to cinema. All right, cool. So I think that's everything. Please, get in touch with us. Let us know what you thought. If you are listening to this and you like it. Oh, by the way, John from PwC, has he listened to last week's episode?
I have not confirmed.
Okay, cool. Because, we gave the man a shout out. He has to do the right thing and give us a review. That is the way
I will make sure. We only spoke briefly today because of the stupid voice.
All right. If anybody has listened to this and you like this, please do give us a review on Apple Music or iTunes. It's not called iTunes anymore. It's called Apple Music. I don't know if Apple's wherever you get podcasts. If they let you leave a review, please leave us a review. Get in touch with us on Twitter. Get in touch with us on YouTube. Let us know what you think about our reviews. Let us know what you think about the films we're talking about, and it will be great and wonderful to talk to you. And you too, like John from PwC, can get yourself featured on the show. Until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
Bye for me.
Goodbye from me.
Thank you ever so much for joining us. Bye.